Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 2020 Pinnacle Awards, brought to you by the Women's Network of the Greater Boston Chamber of Commerce. I'm Lisa Hughes from WBZ-TV, and I am so happy to be back with you today, celebrating these amazing honorees and the contributions they make to our city on this 26th annual Pinnacle Awards. Those of you who have been here before, and I know that is most of you, know that I love this event because of the camaraderie in this room, the sense of possibility, and the inspiration that we get from these honorees every single year with their passion, their experiences, their humor, which always comes through in their speeches, and their wisdom. I feel like many of you, I walk out of here a little bit taller with a sense of the collective power and energy of this room, and also the difference that we can all make as individuals in our workplace and in our communities. I wasn't able to be here last year because of the Super Bowl, so if there is one upside to the Patriots not playing this year, although it makes January a little bit longer, no question, it's that I get to be here again with you. And this is such an empowering lunch that I am just delighted to be back. We are hoping to get a little of the buzz that's in this room emanating beyond the building. So as you take pictures today and put things up on social media, just use the hashtag Pinnacle Awards and then tag @BostonChamber. Your tweet will be retweeted. And we can share some of this good energy with anyone who isn't fortunate enough to be here celebrating with us today. We honor 8 terrific Greater Boston women today for their accomplishments, for their contributions, and for their leadership in their businesses and beyond. And if you pick up the program brochure that is at each of your place settings, you'll see more about these honorees. You'll be able to read their bios. But you'll also be able to see their personal notes of thanks that they have included to their family members and their friends and their colleagues, the people who have supported them along the way. We will begin the awards presentation in just a moment, but this is definitely a working lunch. And so we want you to enjoy this lunch. We aren't going to take a break today. And we want to take just a moment to give a big round of applause to the Marriott staff for so beautifully navigating this room and serving us this wonderful lunch today. Thank you so much. And as much as this is hard for me, because I so admire our hosts and our honorees today, because I don't want anyone to be celebrating with Theraflu and Robitussin, I am going to refrain from hugging or shaking hands with any of our honorees because they should enjoy a much more festive beverage in the days that follow. I'm on the back end of this cold, but I definitely don't want to share it. So with more now, to kick off this show in style, please welcome a leader, an ally, an advocate, a friend I am air hugging right now, the President and CEO of the Greater Boston Chamber of Commerce, Jim Rooney.
Great, good afternoon everyone, and I will be the only male voice you'll hear today, so we decided to get that over at the beginning of the program. Now, how many of you have been to a Super Bowl out there? Lisa, how many have you been to? You've been to more than one. Does anyone feel bad for Lisa that she didn't get to go to the Super Bowl this year?
That's bad. That's living in New England.
You know, the Patriots lost, and it was our loss last year because the Patriots won, that we didn't have Lisa here, but it is our great fortune that she's back with us. Lisa, thank you for bringing your energy and passion for the purpose we celebrate today, which is celebrating Greater Boston women. Please give it up for Lisa Hughes. In speaking of congratulations, a big congratulations to our 2020 Pinnacle honorees. We're so proud and fortunate to have you leading our community. This program would not be possible without some real champions from Boston's business community, for our Women's Network, and for these Pinnacle Awards. So I have some thank yous of sponsors for today's event, long-running partners that have celebrated with us every year. Please join me in thanking Blue Cross Blue Shield of Massachusetts, Safe Path Shaw, and the TJX companies for your partnership. And thank you also to our media sponsor, WBZ-TV, not only for lending us the incomparable Lisa Hughes for the day, but also for ensuring that this program reaches a wider audience. Another big thank you to Lisa Matthews and Morgan Stanley for sponsoring our past Pinnacle honorees table. Please stand if you are a past Pinnacle Award winner. What a great group of people, and just because you won the Pinnacle Award doesn't mean you're done. We're looking forward to your continuing leadership and inspiration going forward. Thank you to all of our corporate table sponsors for being here as well today. We do have some very special audience members that I'd like to acknowledge. Please join me in welcoming Lieutenant Governor Karen Polito, a 2018 Pinnacle awardee. Lieutenant Governor, thank you for joining us, and thank you and Governor Baker for all you do to support women across the Commonwealth. Thank you. One of today's amazing Pinnacle honorees, Attorney General Maura Healey and her Deputy General Attorney Johanna Lidgate. Please join me in welcoming. I know State Representative Alice Peiss is out there, a colleague on so many issues and legislation affecting women. Thank you for being here. Boston Mayor Marty Walsh, who's made women's pay equity and women in leadership positions a priority during his time as mayor, and who's been a regular attendee at this event, and sometimes we even call on him and put him to work as a presenter. But the mayor called me last night to let me know that he had to attend a funeral today, but asked me to extend his congratulations to all of the awardees. But representing the city of Boston, we are joined by the new City Council President, Kim Janey. And Boston City Councilors Lydia Edwards, Julia Mejia, and Kenzie Bach. Past City Council President and current City Clerk Maureen Feeney is here. Maureen, where are you? And the Chief of Boston's Housing and Director of Neighborhood Development and past Pinnacle awardee, Sheila Dillon, who's doing an amazing job on housing affordability in the city. We're also joined by former U.S. Attorney for Massachusetts and past Pinnacle honoree Carmen Ortiz. Carmen. And I'd like to give a warm welcome to former State Rep Jen Benson, who is the new president of the Alliance for Business Leadership. Welcome to the Business Association Club, Jen. Look forward to working with you, and thank you for being here today. And I'd like to give a recognition to my friend Pat Wiley, the CEO of the partnership. Pratt, where are you? Down the back there. Give it up for Pratt. I also want to recognize our chairman of the board at the Greater Boston Chamber of Commerce, Paul Ayub, who's joined by his wife Jane and daughter Lizzie today, and the team from Nutter. Paul, thank you for being here. And you'll hear later from the board chair of our Chamber Women's Network Advisory Board, Yvonne Garcia, who is now in her second year as chair, but making a decade's worth of impact. Yvonne, thank you for being here. Now, each year I get to say something that sounds like I'm being repetitive. 4 years ago, I said we had a record-breaking event because there were 1,000 people in the room. And then the following year, I said it was a record-breaking event. And last year, I said it was a record-breaking event. But give yourself a round of applause because there's 1,300 people in the room today, another record-breaking Pinnacle Award. Now, I know that the reason we continue to fill up this room year after year is not only due to the inspirational journeys and influence of our honorees, but also because of the powerhouse team that brings this program together. So my last thank you, and it's a great big one, is to my team at the Greater Boston Chamber of Commerce for putting their thoughtfulness, their time, and their effort into every little detail of this program. In particular, let's give it up for the all-female programs team, Celia Richa, Ali Nigro, Lou Zaragosis, Laureen Watts, and Hannah Zen. A big round of applause for the people that made this happen. Now, our talented workforce is Boston's competitive advantage. And we know that 50% of that workforce, at least, is comprised of women. And we learn each year at this event, women are making an incredible impact in Boston and Massachusetts. I see the Chamber's role as leveraging the power of the people in this room, our Women's Network champions, to make Boston the best place for women to thrive in all aspects of their lives, but particularly in business and in the workplace. We will continue to invest in expanding the impact and programming of the Women's Network in 2020 and beyond. We know what this program means to you personally and to our business community, and we will keep working to grow that impact and reach more women at all levels of their careers. We believe in this so much that we decided the program needed its own brand. I'm pleased to show you a new video that we created to launch that brand and capture the Women's Network, its mission, the remarkable people that make the Women's Network so meaningful to so many.
The mission of the Women's Network is to elevate the region's female professionals.
We encourage one another, we reach out to one another, and we're there for one another.
The Women's Network in Boston is the strongest I've seen anywhere, and I've lived all over the country.
The network is comprised of women from corporate America, from government, from not-for-profit, companies large and small, all focused on building a network and helping each other.
To sit in a room full of amazingly talented, successful, creative, innovative, and genuinely powerful women and male allies, it was an experience like nothing else I've ever had before.
I think the Chamber is at the forefront of helping women. It's taken the lead on equal pay, on paid leave, on really celebrating the power of women.
It is refreshing to be in a room full of female leaders representing every sector, industry, and profession of the greater Boston economy.
They are an example of the strength of the Chamber. They're an example of the progressive business community that we all operate in. They are a genuine powerhouse who are going to bring change for the next 25 years.
I think the Chamber is a leader in advancing women because it's not just words, it's real actions.
Now, please join me in welcoming to the stage a true leader in Greater Boston's business community, the chair of the Women's Network Advisory Board and Chief of Staff to State Street CEO, Yvonne Garcia.
Thank you, Jim, and good afternoon, everyone. As chair of the Boston Chamber's Women's Network Advisory Board, I'm honored to be here today to celebrate today's 8 remarkable honorees and to represent my fellow board members who are a powerful group of influential women who work tirelessly each day to advance and recognize the contributions of our region's female professionals. They are here with me today, and I would like for them to please stand and be recognized for their leadership. Thank you for all you do. You know, in the video we just played, you saw the impact of the diverse and collaborative network of 2,800 strong and growing, by the way, the impact that we've had on women at all levels across the Commonwealth. As Jim said, we continue to invest in the Women's Network to grow not just our impact, but also our voice as leading business association for women in business. In 2022, we will continue our commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion. I personally am a firm believer in that what gets measured gets managed. As such, Jim and I have agreed to implement diversity metrics for the very first time in the history of the Chamber, with the goal of striving for 25% diverse representation on our board. Fortunately, the Chamber is an organization that walks the walk. In 2019, the Chamber hosted nearly 70 programs, featuring 71% women speakers and 40% speakers of color. And they honored 18 amazing leaders, with 83% of honorees being women and 61% of honorees being people of color. I also want to give credit to Jim Rooney and the Chamber's board chair, Paul Ayub, for making diversity and economic equality a strategic priority for the organization. These are two guys who just simply get it, and they're always front and center at all of our women's forums, not only supporting us, but championing us. In fact, I'd be remiss if I do not acknowledge and thank the many men that have started to attend our breakfast each month. You clearly understand the importance of not just showing up, but being our champions. If we want to make real change for women in the workplace, we need everybody at the table, learning about the challenges and opportunities we face. I invite all of you to be part of the Women's Network journey in 2020, men and women, as we are so much stronger together. But today we're here to honor and celebrate women, and this includes participants in our Women's Leadership Program, which is celebrating its 10th anniversary this year. May I have present and past participants please stand and be recognized. You are our pipeline for the future Pinnacle Award honorees. And speaking of our Pinnacle honorees, I'm extremely proud of the diversity represented in this year's winners. They come from all walks of life, yet they have one thing in common: their passion for helping other women succeed and blocking their wind. Let me explain. Many of their stories bring me back to the Boston Marathon in 2018. As some of you may recall, we encountered freezing temperatures and a hailstorm. It was one of the most difficult marathons I have ever run. In fact, that year, the dropout rate was 50% higher overall than in 2017. More specifically, for men, the dropout rate was up 80% from prior years, and for women, it was only up 12%. Now, that has nothing to do with the point I'm trying to make, but I just really like that statistic. So, anyway, on with my story. That year, Desiree Linden was the first American woman to win the Boston Marathon in 33 years. But what you may not know about that year was that she was close to quitting midway through the race. Halfway through the race, she found her fellow American female runner, Shalane Flanagan, and told her, "I'm not feeling that great, but I want to help you win. I'm going to run in front of you and help block the wind so that you can get ahead." Think about that for a moment. How many women have you blocked the wind for, regardless of your ability to get ahead? And that is why I'm so proud of the women being recognized today. Thank you for blocking the wind for so many of us. I'd like to now welcome Lisa back to the podium to begin our award presentation.
Thank you, Yvonne. And that data about the marathon in 2018 just might make it into my coverage this year. That was pretty good information. And I have been to 2 Super Bowls, the first of which I am probably blocking because I was in the fetal position when they beat Seattle. Remember on that last play? It's all coming back to me now, and they did win, so that's the good news. It is time for our awards presentation, and our first award is for Emerging Executive. Our recipient is Rita German, Director of Community Investments at John Hancock. Rita has helped manage John Hancock's grants portfolio and external engagement work with the goal of creating a healthier and more equitable Boston. She also supports several Boston organizations, including Minds Matter Boston, More Than Words, and the Boston Foundation's Latino Legacy Fund, to name just a few. To other young female leaders entering the workforce, Rita offers this piece of advice. You belong in every room you have ever entered and those you haven't gone into before. Trust yourself. Rita, in recognition for your contributions to Boston, please accept the 2020 Pinnacle Award for Emerging Executive.
This is special. When I first found out I had been selected to receive a Pinnacle Award, I was overwhelmed by so many emotions. I was touched by the nomination by my sister, Lourdes German, a future Pinnacle recipient in her own right. Mark my words, she's gonna get it. I was honored by the recognition for the small role I played in the totality of the work I'm most proud of. I was inspired by the company of women I'm recognized with, all of whom I have a deep respect for their work, their courage, example, and contributions. And truthfully, I was a bit stunned. Mostly for 2 reasons. Despite being your textbook middle child, I don't crave attention all that much, especially as I've lived my life driven by a deep desire to help others. Secondly, because, ever again the middle child, I love to process things alone in quiet moments. So as it took time to process this recognition and what it meant, the idea of a pinnacle seemed overwhelming and ripe with meaning, and I worked hard to find and define what it meant for me. So the first thing I did was Google the definition of pinnacle. And as it was defined, it quite wasn't the right fit. Because it wasn't the most successful point or culmination for me. However, metaphorically speaking, it was a perfect place for me to gain perspective. And it felt right. From this place, I was able to reflect on what I have learned about my professional journey. And that is that I did not get here alone. As I tried to think of moments in my life that defined me, I inevitably didn't think about things, but rather the people who were there. I did not become who I am in isolation, from remarkable struggle, remarkable kindness, and above all, remarkable people. These 3 things could take up an entire program, or as I'd prefer, a long conversation over a good cup of coffee. So I will zero in on a core group of remarkable people that defined my journey, its key lessons, and who I am better than any patchwork of moments, stories, failures, and successes. I'm a proud daughter of immigrants from the Dominican Republic. Thank you. New York raised me, but Boston made me into who I am. Through it all, I've been so fortunate to have a consistent constellation surround me throughout my entire life's journey. My mother is an example of hard work, resiliency, and hope. And please indulge me in a second as I address her directly because she's here today. Sorry. Mami, eres la otra mitad de mi alma. Y todo lo que tengo y logro es para ti por tu ejemplo. Te quiero de todo corazón. My older sister Lourdes is an example of innovation, deep-rooted commitment, and support. My younger sister Elisa is the epitome of honesty, partnership, and diligence. All 3 of her daily actions and support have had an enormous impact on me to lead with empathy, work with integrity, imagine fearlessly, and fail gracefully. The impact of their actions and support have literally galvanized my courage to think bigger than what I thought was possible or that I was capable of. They have been my sounding board for career decisions, challengers to my way of thinking, and the catalyst for all that I've been able to accomplish, down to refining my strategy, introducing me to new people, their new ideas, and even spell checking and editing my emails, memos, and speeches. Except for this one, I want it to be a bit of a surprise. So from this vantage point, after 20 years in Boston and looking forward to the next chapters in my life, I know that it is because of them and everyone from my John Hancock family, and I use that term deliberately and accurately when describing them, to the Boston community that welcomed me and mentored me, that I am truly able to believe in the one piece of advice and truth that all women, especially women of color, must hold firmly to, and that is to trust who you are becoming. Be fully present in every moment. Listen and trust your own voice. As I accept this recognition, know that I do so not in isolation and not for myself, but for every single person, experience, conversation, mistake, recovery, and impact I was blessed to be a part of, and with everyone whose imprint is on those moments. We all arrive at some pinnacle in our lives, some quiet ones and others big in big rooms like this, but always know that you contribute in important ways and are surrounded by people who want to see you thrive and succeed, and the most important person is yourself. Thank you to the Chamber and my fellow honorees for sharing this moment with me.
Congratulations, Rita. And so glad to have your mom here too. When you said that she set a great example, we all leapt to our feet. Our next Pinnacle Award is for achievement in entrepreneurship. And our recipient today is Ashley McCown, president of Salman McCown, which earlier this month became Salman McCown and Sensi. Under Ashley's leadership, Salman McCown has grown into a thriving 35-person agency that delivers results to some of Boston's best-in-class real estate, healthcare, corporate, and mission-focused organizations. During her 30-plus years in public relations and crisis communications, Ashley has not only built and protected reputations, but also worked to mentor and develop the next generation of leaders. Ashley says one of the most important leadership qualities to have is empathy. She says, leaders often need to have conversations and make tough decisions, but that doesn't mean you need to be harsh or tough when you do them. Ashley always starts by putting herself in others' shoes and thinking about the way that her words will affect them. Ashley, thank you for sharing your words with so many people and your leadership, and congratulations on this year's 2020 Pinnacle Award.
So Rita, you made me cry before I came up here. It's a hard act to follow, but we have a very special connection, Rita and I, and I'm so, so proud of you. Rita's first job out of college was working with our agency many, many years ago. And we knew back then what we all know today, that she is going places, quite literally, apparently going to New York. And I also want to give a shout out to Vanessa, who is both a client and a great friend of our firm. It is lovely to share the stage with all of my fellow honorees. I suspect many of us don't spend a whole lot of time thinking about our accomplishments. We keep doing, right? It's what we do. But as I did reflect on what brought me here today, a few things came to mind. Since my grandfather took me to my first football game when I was 5, because all 5-year-olds need to understand a wishbone offense, I've been passionate about sports. Sports are an outlet for my competitive spirit, taught me the value of teamwork, and put me on equal footing, whether I was playing tackle football with the boys, or later on in my career, staking my own ground in a boardroom dominated by men. Going to an all-women's college. My first day at Mount Holyoke, I found a button in the bookstore, and it said, a woman's place is in the House and the Senate. And I knew from then on, that I believed, as a woman, there wasn't anything I could not do. 25 years ago this month, I was involved in my first major crisis. I like to start small. The shootings at the Planned Parenthood Clinic in Brookline. What I experienced in those early weeks with Helene, just one highlight to share, telling Sam Donaldson, no, you cannot come into the clinic and recreate the shootings for your special tomorrow night, was a special moment. But it forged my passion for helping organizations in crisis that stays with me until this day. Leading and growing the firm with Helene over 17 years has challenged me in ways I never thought possible, and it has filled me with joy and pride, most especially because we have created an environment for young women to flourish and grow and succeed. We've built something really special thanks to our talented and committed staff that are here today. Give it up. And our amazing clients, you all rock. Thank you so very, very much. And now my pride turns to the next generation. As Solomon Count & Company, as Lisa just noted, this month became Solomon Count & Sensi. My parents raised me to believe that I could be anything I wanted to be, so I became a Democrat. Thank you, Mom. Joking aside, they really did raise me to believe that I could be anything I wanted to be. So my hope today, with 1,300 of us in this room, is that we can do everything we can to help girls and young women believe the very same. Please join me in making that happen. Thank you.
Don't forget that. Thank you, Ashley, and congratulations. Next up, we present the Pinnacle Award for Achievement in Healthcare, Arts, and Education. And our honoree is Dr. Shari Nethersole, Executive Director for Community Health and attending physician for the Primary Care Center at Boston Children's Hospital. Dr. Nethersole oversees the Office of Community Health, which is responsible for driving Boston Children's mission to improve the health and well-being of children and families throughout our community. She works tirelessly to address health disparities and to improve population health, while also continuing to provide care for patients and supervising residents at Children's Primary Care Center. Dr. Nethersole offers the following advice to young female professionals. Stay true to yourself. While there are many books and recommendations out there about how women should function in the workplace, you should find your individual strength and utilize it, even if it's not listed in the How to Succeed books. Dr. Nethersole, we and the families of Greater Boston are so lucky to have you in our community. Congratulations, and please accept this year's 2020 Pinnacle Award.
Thank you very much for that introduction. When I was growing up and in school, I always loved math and science. I was naturally inclined to think about complex problems and then to work towards finding the best solutions. I was interested in searching for answers, and I was driven to expand my knowledge so that I could help solve problems. I was one of those people who much preferred doing a science experiment or a problem set than writing a paper. In medical school, however, I had to learn how to deal with uncertainties and the challenges and frustration that come with sometimes not being able to find an answer or having multiple potential solutions. The skills, knowledge, and attitudes that I developed as a physician helped me as I advanced throughout my career from medical student to resident, practicing physician, and medical educator. Today, I am an administrative leader working to advocate for and promote community health within a large hospital setting. I've had to step even more outside of my comfort zone, but I've come to realize that I can draw from my experiences as a physician in caring for patients, having empathy for others, having flexibility and patience, always learning from experiences and assessing what worked and what can be done better. I consider myself to be a quiet person, but that doesn't mean I will shy away from a challenge. I have discovered how to use that trait and make it into one of my strengths. So my advice to others is a reminder to slow down and listen. You don't always need to be the loudest voice in the room. Find out what other people think and what they want to do. Encourage a discussion to bring out the best ideas. I have found that this approach works whether I'm in clinic talking with a family or in my office when I'm tackling a new challenge with my team. These are some of the behaviors and attitudes that have helped me to be successful. Thank you for allowing me a few minutes to share and for recognizing me with this award. I truly appreciate it and congratulate my fellow awardees as well, and I am humbled to be in their company.
Thank you, Dr. Nethersole, and congratulations. Our next Pinnacle Award is for Achievement in Management Nonprofit, and our recipient is Dr. Vanessa Calderon Rosado, CEO of Inquilinos Boricuas en Acción, or IBA. IBA is a community development corporation dedicated to empowering families to improve their lives through high-quality, affordable housing, education, and arts programs. Dr. Calderon Rosado has led the organization to become the largest Latino-led nonprofit organization in Eastern Massachusetts. Among other civic engagements, Dr. Calderon Rosado is the founding board member of the Margarita Muniz Academy, the first dual-language innovation high school in Massachusetts, and the co-founder of the Greater Boston Latino Network. To women entering the workforce, Vanessa encourages you to be bold, authentic, positive, and to act. She says, make things happen, deliver results, and take pride in your work. You have so much to be proud of. Vanessa, thank you for all your contributions to Greater Boston, and please receive this year's Pinnacle Award.
Good afternoon, everyone. Buenas tardes. So great to see you all. Over the course of my journey, I've learned numerous lessons about what it means to be a leader. No lesson, virtue, or value has ever been more important to me than being authentic. I was born and raised in San Juan, Puerto Rico, and came to Boston as a PhD graduate student in 1992. Coming to Boston on a very modest graduate student scholarship, I truly learned how to face new challenges in my life. English, as you may have noticed by now, is my second language. And coming to do high-level, rigorous graduate studies was very hard. I'm good at math, like Dr. Nethersole. I'm good with numbers and had great results in my master level statistics course back home in Spanish. I'm also a good writer in Spanish. So all of a sudden, the code switching challenged my abilities and made me work 3, 4, 5 times harder than any other student in my cohort. I also had to adjust to the winters. Temperatures in Puerto Rico rarely go below 65 degrees on top of a mountain. So I remember dealing with the snow and how challenging that was. And I will never forget my first winter here, walking with my winter-challenged, flat shoes that bestowed me with an ugly slip and fall in the middle of a sidewalk on Arlington Street right after work when people are coming from the offices, and here I am. Oh, and of course, that Boston accent. Packing, is that where you store your packages? I don't know. But the most challenging adjustment for me when I came to Boston was to face racism and microaggressions. I'm very proud of being who I am. I'm very proud of being a Puerto Rican woman. But coming here made me think about hiding my identity and about trying to lose my accent. I just wanted to fit in. And then, at that point, I remember my late mom telling me, she told me, if you're not who you are, who would you be? And if there's a new you, what will she be? How would she fit in? Wouldn't people learn from you and appreciate you by being your true self? Wouldn't you help them expand their views and their perspectives? Wouldn't that be a wonderful thing? Be authentic, mija, she told me. So here I am, standing in front of you today, wearing my proud Puerto Rican heritage and my proud Puerto Rican culture. Thank you. And I'm here extremely, extremely honored and grateful to the Chamber for elevating me to this pinnacle as I continue my journey as a proud Puerto Rican woman. And I ask you to use your power and your platform to help others, including our American fellow citizens in Puerto Rico, as they recover from neglect and embattlement. This is truly a wonderful recognition, and I want to dedicate this award that's so amazing and wonderful to my late mama and to all of you women in this room. No matter what you do, let's follow my mom's advice. Let's be authentic. So, gracias, muchísimas, muchísimas, muchas, muchas, muchas gracias for this wonderful recognition. Thank you.
Congratulations, Vanessa, and thank you for sharing the gift that was your mom's message with all of us. Our next Pinnacle Award today is for Achievement in Management Government to the Attorney General of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, Maura Healey. Serving in her second term as Attorney General, Maura leads the People's Law Firm as the People's Lawyer, continuing a career spent fighting for justice and equal rights. She and her team spend time working on the issues that matter most, from healthcare and energy costs to protecting consumers, ensuring equity for all, and keeping our communities safe. The Attorney General offers this piece of advice to young leaders. Believe in yourself, especially when you are experiencing doubts. Embrace uncertainty, challenge, and risk, and at all times, pursue what you are passionate about. Attorney General Healey, for fighting the good fight for all of us, congratulations on this year's Pinnacle Award.
Thank you so much, Lisa. And Lisa Hughes is so awesome. She gives so much of her time at so many different events, this certainly being one. So thank you, Lisa, for all you do. I want to start by thanking Jim Rooney and his amazing team at the Chamber for all that they do, certainly for this terrific event every year. But, you know, over the last 5 years, I think about Jim and his team and our partnership on issues like pay equity and student loan debt. And I think our work together has really helped make a difference. And I also want to commend, too, all the members here. You know, if it weren't for you and your support in our cases, we wouldn't have successfully defended the DACA program. We wouldn't have successfully fought back onerous immigration policies. We would not have successfully defended the Affordable Care Act and coverage for women's contraception. Thank you, members of the business community, for your voice, members of the NGO community. We need teamwork, we need continued partnership, and there is no greater group than the members of the Greater Boston Chamber of Commerce. Thank you. I also am really inspired and awed by the honorees, the people being honored today. Really, it's such a privilege to get to know some of you with whom I haven't had the privilege of sitting. And boy, what a wealth of experience and intellect and true gifts that we have in this community from so many women recognized today and the past honorees, but as importantly, all the women out there. So that's a real privilege. Look, I'm the wrong person standing here today. The person standing here today should be my mom. You know, when I was 10 years old, and my sisters are here today, Caitlin and Tara, I was 10 and there were 4 younger ones. My mom found herself a single parent. And I remember her getting up early in the morning when it was still dark, and she would go down and take care of an elderly man down the way and then go on to her job as a school nurse. And she somehow managed to make sure that we were fed, got to practice on time, that she saw our games. And she really represented to me, I think, my first real example of what it meant to be a strong woman and a leader. One thing she did do early on, too, was sold her wedding ring and used the proceeds to put in half a basketball court behind our house. As some of you know, that prior to this law gig, I had a career as a basketball player. And, you know, were it not for my mom's deliberate, I think, decision to make sure that 5 kids had a place to play every afternoon out of the house, you know, were it not for her commitment and support there, I wouldn't have probably gone on and played college ball and played professionally. And, you know, the fact of the matter is I probably won that election back in 2014 because people saw a commercial where I spun a basketball. So I owe a lot to my mom. So I want to thank her so much, and she continues to inspire. And, you know, for far too long, women who did too much did not have the recognition that they deserve. And this year, in the 100th anniversary of the suffragist movement, I think now more than ever, we need to lift up women and elevate women. And I will tell you, because it's become clear to me, that we are only going to succeed as a country and as a world unless and until we empower women. It makes better policy, it makes better law, it makes better results. I've seen that in my office as we were the first to institute paid parental leave, unconscious bias training. We brought on board new policies around diversity and inclusion, councils for new Americans, race and equity, disability, labor. The majority of my office is women, and that includes women leaderships. Joanna Lidgate, my chief deputy, is here today, along with Gabe Viator, my chief of staff. It makes a difference. It makes a difference, and I encourage the continued attention and attentiveness to that here, because I say with all my heart, it does make better policy and better practice. I also want you to know that in all those cases that you've been reading about the last few years, our victory against the NRA, our victory against Exxon, our victory against Purdue and the Sackler family, those are all cases briefed, argued, and led by women in your Attorney General's office. Thank you for giving us the opportunity. Seeing is believing. Let's continue to lift one another up, do all we can to support one another, and I look forward to partnership with you in the time to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Maura, and congratulations. Our next Pinnacle Award today is for Achievement in Management, Private, and our honoree is Jane Steinmetz, Boston Office Managing Principal at Ernst & Young. Jane has had more than 25 years' experience serving Fortune 100 clients, leading high-performing teams and advocating for change. At EY, she is responsible for overall client service, market growth, and internal management of more than 2,300 professionals. Among the many community organizations she serves, Jane is a board member of the Boys and Girls Club of Boston, the United Way, and the Greater Boston Chamber. An accomplishment that Jane says she is most proud of is leading EY to take a strong position on 2018's Yes on 3 ballot measure, designed to protect the rights of transgendered individuals in the Commonwealth. Jane says, leading EY and the business community in this campaign served as a special moment, and it reinforced EY's commitment to building a diverse workplace, which is one of Jane's passions. I had the pleasure of working with Jane on a Big Sister Boston event a couple of years ago. She is a dynamic, wonderful leader. Jane, congratulations for your commitment to Boston, all your clients and your workplace. Congratulations on this year's 2020 Pinnacle Award.
Hello, everybody. It is so great to be here, and I mean, hats off to the fellow honorees. You're making me cry. You're making me laugh. You're making me stand and applaud. I am humbled to be in the same company as you, both the current honorees and the past honorees. So thank you so much. And I'd like to echo a lot of what Maura just said about the Boston Chamber of Commerce. I really thank you for being such staunch and visible supporters of advancing women. I thank you, Jim Rooney. I thank your team. I thank the Women's Network Advisory Board and my dear friend, the chair of it, Yvonne Garcia. Thank you so very much. The Pinnacle Awards, in my opinion, is really a testament to the power of women's leadership. All the trailblazing women that are here today, all their accomplishments, the past honorees, all their accomplishments, really what it is a testament of is proof that our organizations, our companies, they are stronger and they are better when we have women at the table. So I am happy that my profession is making strides in creating that gender-balanced leadership framework. It's time for that, my friends. And I am happy to be in an organization where women are respected, they are valued, and they are promoted into leadership roles that they deserve. But if I was to look over my career, there's really 3 lessons that stand out. 3 kind of guiding principles that have helped me. And many of my honorees that have just been up here have noted them. And the first is that authenticity. And Vanessa, you said it so well. I remember earlier on in my career, I failed miserably at this. I was trying to emulate everybody in the room, and I was always the only woman, and it failed miserably. And when I really realized you have to bring that authentic self to work, that authenticity breeds authority, it's very empowering. So that was a lesson that, Vanessa, you articulated so well. And then the other would be, the second would be to take every opportunity you can to jump outside your comfort zone. We learn more and we grow more, and I have advanced my career more when I took on new roles and new positions with a zeal. But the third lesson that I've learned, I implore everybody in this room to embrace. You are all a very influential group of 1,300 of my closest friends. And that lesson is that we all have to be really strong mentors and sponsors of others. I am so incredibly grateful for all the people who helped me throughout my career. They lifted me. They helped me get to where I am today, and I know they will continue to be there for me, helping me along the way. We need to be that type of strong ally and advocate to others, and particularly our diverse friends. I am so incredibly happy that we're beginning to see this groundswell of movement to advance women. I'm very happy about that, and I echo what some others have said, is that we're not done. We have to continue, but we are seeing progress, and that's really great. We need to see that progress in other communities, and in particular, people of color. So I would say that as we are all here today celebrating this rising tide, we need to make sure it lifts all boats, not just some. So I hope everybody in this room will, join me in my passion for, supporting and being staunch advocates for diverse leadership, all within your organizations. So thank you very much. I congratulate my other award winners this afternoon, and I absolutely salute the former award winners. And I am honored and privileged to be in the company of such an accomplished group of women. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jane, and congratulations. Our next Pinnacle Award is for Achievement in the Professions, and we are honored to present the award this year to Dr. Jennifer Sang, Surgeon-in-Chief at Boston Medical Center and Utley Professor and Chair of the Department of Surgery at Boston University School of Medicine, the very first female Chief of Surgery in our great city. Dr. Sang founded Surgical Outcomes Analysis and Research, or SOAR, which is a clinical and outcomes research institute, where she explores the models for cancer treatment, sequencing, cancer biomarkers, and healthcare disparities. Dr. Sang says she derives her greatest professional satisfaction from the successes of the many surgical residents and research fellows she's mentored. In fact, she says one of her greatest leadership strengths is her ability to see the unique strengths in others and help them rise to meet their potential. Dr. Sang, we are so fortunate to have your talent and your compassion in the city of Boston. Congratulations on this year's 2020 Pinnacle Award.
Happy Year of the Mouse. Did you know it was a mouse? I think you probably think of it as a rat, but actually the Chinese word is actually mouse, right? So all of these years, right? In English, we have the tendency to choose the larger or the more masculine to signify the year. So I want you to know that it's the year. Things like snakes and dragons, I guess, don't have gender, but it's not the year of the rooster. It's the year of the chicken. It's not the year of the boar. It's the year of the pig, right? So as you think about this, right, women hold up half the sky. Hearing the women here talk about their mothers, I think all of us, men and women, pretty much would not be here, would not be who we are without our mothers and those that are like mothers to us. So I really want to thank the Boston Chamber of Commerce and Mr. Rooney for this incredible opportunity, all the members of the Chamber of Commerce. This is just an incredible opportunity. And to be able to sit at the same table with these sheroes of mine, and it's just amazing. So I spent the first 25 years of my life in the San Francisco Bay Area, and like some of our speakers here, English was my, not my first language, but it is my best language. But I grew up as a child of immigrants, and I've been in Boston, though, slightly longer than I was in the Bay Area.
It's 25, and I won't give away my age, but I've been here a little bit longer. But now I'm a Mass resident through and through. I have both a Patriots jersey, but Malcolm Butler's jersey, talking about Seahawks, and I have Jimmy Garoppolo's 49er thing. So I have mixed loyalties. But I'm a Massachusetts resident through and through, and I grew up professionally in Boston, and I'm so thrilled to be here for the Boston Chamber of Commerce. And I have to say that I have a little bit of imposter syndrome, right? I look at people here, I look at my great boss, Kate Walsh. I have imposter syndrome. What am I doing here? So I thought, for the young people, for people that are striving, for people that are trying to reach some pinnacle, I put together a few tips to basically say what I've learned along the way, about all my failures along the way. So first, don't spend too much time worrying about how others perceive you. You heard about implicit bias. It exists. It's real, but actively contradict it by your actions. Number two, have something to say. Have an opinion. Read the paper. Get involved in politics. Read the paper all the way through. Front page, local, business, sports, leisure. Sit at the table. As Sheryl Sandberg says in Lean In, sit at your table, keep your hand up, right? For introverts, right? We heard from Sherry that people are thinking of themselves as quiet. We need to have those people speak up. If you talk too much, like some of the rest of us, we need to listen more. Consider how you present to others, right? Eyes up, be direct, try to get rid of the ums and going ups at the end of sentences, like a California girl, how I was raised. Copy other people, right? These women and men at the tables here, I copy them. They're people I've been copying my whole life here, right? It's okay. Pretend, right? Number 7 on my list is pretend. Fake it. It's speech and debate. It's theater. Nobody's confident. Nobody's confident. Like, I'm terrified, right? I'm just faking it. Get out of your bubble. It's been incredible to me to meet these women that do different things that I do. Like, if I spent all my time with people that do exactly what I do, my role would be very narrow and I wouldn't learn a thing. Try. What's the worst thing that could happen? You won't succeed, and you learn something that will help you the next time. One who never fails at anything has never tried anything worthwhile. Finally, give others a chance, even, especially, if they don't look like you, or you think they might not like your kind. Thank you again to the Boston Chamber of Commerce and for all these amazing people in the room. Thank you.
Just for the record, Dr. Sang, I'm going to copy you. And if we can't be cheering for the Patriots, we can cheer for a former Patriot in Jimmy G. So thanks for bringing that up. Don't want to offend anyone who supports Kansas City, but there we go, a little Jimmy G shout out. It is time now for our final Pinnacle Award presentation of the day, and it is the Pinnacle Award for Lifetime Achievement. And this special honor goes to Phyllis Yale, advisory partner at Bain & Company. I had the pleasure of spending time with Phyllis last week, and I could have spent the entire afternoon with her. I came back with the tape that we shot, and our producer, Jesse Miller, said to me after she watched it, we could have aired this whole thing if we had time. It was such a pleasure to listen to her, which is the truth. Phyllis has been a leader in the U.S. healthcare system throughout her career. She joined Bain & Company in 1982, where she helped build Bain's healthcare practice, led the Boston office, served on Bain's board of directors, and held other leadership roles within the firm. Today, she continues to work at Bain as an advisor to healthcare payers and providers. She also serves on the boards of Blue Cross Blue Shield of Massachusetts, Bristol Myers Squibb, and DaVita. She is on the nonprofit boards of the Bridgespan Group and the trustees of reservations. Phyllis has one single piece of advice for all of us in the room today, and that is, speak up. Phyllis encourages you to have the confidence to get in the conversation, be pithy, and make your mark. Don't wait for an invitation. Phyllis, for your more than a lifetime of impact on your way to continue to do even more great things in the city of Boston and beyond, congratulations on the Lifetime Achievement Award for the Chamber of Commerce's Pinnacle Award.
Thank you, Lisa. What an honor. I am humbled to be in the company of such extraordinary women. Again, a shout out to my fellow honorees. Just extraordinary. A Lifetime Achievement Award. What does that even mean? I won't comment on the meaning of lifetime since I hope to have a few years left, but I'd like to reflect on the meaning of achievement. Because looking back, I realize that it has varied over time. And with the benefit of hindsight, I can separate my career and therefore my definition of success into 4 chapters. Phase 1 was the early years of my career when I had fairly conventional measures of success. Satisfied clients, happy teams, promotions that said somebody else thought I was doing a good job, but mostly it was about learning, developing skills, but equally important, developing the confidence to speak up and take my seat at the table. Some folks are born with the ability to do this, even when they shouldn't. But I was terrified to speak to a group as small as 3 people. I remember my very first job out of college, giving my very first speech to my boss and hyperventilating, running out of breath as I sped through my remarks. Over time, I practiced, I prepared, I faked it till I made it, and I use myself now as a great example that speaking with confidence is a learned skill. But in summary, Phase 1 accomplishments were largely personal. Phase 2 began when I had my first child. Began the working mom phase, where yes, I came back to work and had my achievements at work, but I knew my greatest achievement was hanging on by my fingernails as I tried to raise a family and kept my career going. I had a lot of support. Bain was happy to have me work part-time. My husband was truly an equal parent, but still, I was a card-carrying member of the most efficient species on Earth, which many of you belong to, the working mother. You know what I mean, juggling all those balls all the time, those 2-columned to-do lists. On the left, the work, which is, finish the proposal, and on the right was the personal, like, buy Becca some shoes. Phase 3 was about the firm. I ran Bain's biggest office, helped enter new markets, served on the board and other governance committees. I managed a P&L through good times and bad, mentored partners. I played a small role in launching Bridgespan, our nonprofit affiliate. And achievement was institutional. It was about helping the firm grow and prosper. I also had the opportunity to do those subtle organizational hacks to make women prosper. You can hack the promotion process to make sure you had enough women on the committee. Make sure you define tenure so that part-timers get an even playing field. These small things make a difference. And so while I was the first woman to be promoted while on maternity leave, I can assure you I was very far from the last, and we've had dozens and dozens since then. I entered Phase 4. I entered Phase 4 a few years ago. My sights are now set on having an impact on society, and specifically the U.S. healthcare system. My professional career, as Lisa mentioned, has been focused on healthcare, and I have a real passion for improving it. To that end, I reduced my hours at Bain, and I've gotten involved with about 10 different companies, both large and small, that are trying to make the healthcare system lower cost, higher quality, and easier for patients to navigate. And as part of this chapter, it has been a true privilege to serve as board chair of Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Massachusetts, an organization that is dedicated to this very mission. So I went from defining achievement as personal, to family, to institutional, to societal. And as those definitions broadened, of course, success required other people, not only other people on your team, but other generations of people. Institutional success at Bain demands an ongoing talent machine, and any success in improving the U.S. healthcare system will require future generations to carry on the work. So in winning this award, I thought long and hard about what kinds of achievement qualified me to join the ranks of these wonderful women who've received it before. And I want to do a shout out to the prior Pinnacle Award winners who are all over there, who are absolutely extraordinary. In fact, previous honoree Judge Margaret Marshall, who wrote the decision that made Massachusetts first in the country on marriage equality and set the platform, for our nationwide marriage equality laws, practically has a shrine in our household. Nothing I can do will measure up to that, but it does beg the question, what will be my legacy? And I've decided that it is found in the people that I have coached and mentored. Coaching and developing great talent is the one thing that really lasts. Products get outdated, companies come and go, but talent is resilient. And developing talent is the gift that keeps giving, as those people become mentors themselves. That may be my only superpower, and it is the real lifetime achievement I can point to. So let's bring it full circle. No one achieves anything alone. I am no exception. I am thrilled and honored to accept this award on behalf of all the people who got me here today, my mentors, my colleagues, and mostly my family. Congratulations again to all of the honorees today.
Congratulations, Phyllis, and by any and every measure of achievement, you are a superstar. Can we have another big round of applause for all of our honorees today? I also want to recognize all the amazing past Pinnacle Award winners. It is so nice to have you with us. Your impact on this event is immeasurable, and to see you every year is truly inspirational. A few final words of thanks. First, to the Greater Boston Chamber of Commerce for inviting me back. It is such an honor to be on this stage with these women and to be with all of you. And thank you for indulging my not quite perfect voice today. To our sponsors, Blue Cross Blue Shield of Massachusetts, Seyfarth Shaw, the TJX companies, Lisa Matthews, and Morgan Stanley. To my work family, WBZ, thank you for being the media partner today and supporting the Greater Boston Chamber. And before any of our past and present award members leave, honorees leave, please come up to the stage. We would like to take one big group picture. To all of you, thank you for being part of this day of celebration. Have a wonderful weekend, and again, congratulations.